So Robert Mays, who hosts the Athletic Football Show, on which quarterback of the Browns he thinks has a leg up when you're talking about the rookies competing with each other.
I think that Dylan Gabriel is going to have a pretty big lead going into this on the mental side of things. And I think that that could go a long way, even if when you think about how they throw the ball, accuracy being a strength, they're similar sorts of players. I do think Dylan Gabriel has a little bit of a leg up when it comes to how mature he is in his understanding of football, the decision making, all of that. And so I think if it comes down to it, that's why I would give him a little bit of the edge. And if he can just play point guard within this offense, if it's going to be play action heavy. And the other part of it is the screen game. When you think back to when this offense was at its best, and that's kind of what I'm so fascinated in with Harold Fannin as being part of this. Like him with the ball in his hands, he's such a weird, funky player. And I think we've seen Kevin Stefanski be really successful at deploying these kind of weird, funky tight ends as after the catch players. So I think there's a world where the passing game is kind of strange and they manufacture stuff out of it and it does work.
You know, the one thing, Damon, that kind of makes me, it almost like Robert Mays is saying that, you know, the processing and the mental part of football puts Gabriel a bunch ahead. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Deshaun Watson, or Shedeur Sanders, we were talking about Deshaun Watson, I think Shedeur Sanders thinks football has a really high football IQ. I think Dylan Gabriel's ahead because they took him with a third-round pick when they could have taken Sanders, and they took Sanders 2 rounds later. That's why Dylan Gabriel has a substantial lead. They went out and whatever they saw, whatever they had, they liked better than Shedeur Sanders.
Sure, according to reports about the draft process and everything that went into it, it appears that both players would be on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Dylan Gabriel did everything inside of those meetings to help himself, while Shador did many things that most say hurt himself during that process and led to him dropping in the draft. So, it's only rational to think that Gabriel would have an advantage and a leg up at this point. And that's probably the case. And I think the Browns will probably give him every single opportunity that he can to win the job over Sanders, or, even if that's the backup position. But at the end of the day, we just have to see these two guys on the field. And I think a lot of what people are miscalculating with Shador is just his ability to process post snap. He may not be the greatest at all the pre-snap reads and all of that, but post-snap and the picture that he gets in his head, looking off defenders and things like that. I think that may be some of the stuff that makes Shador special in college and something that could be a path for him to have success at the NFL level.
Yeah, and again, once all that stuff in mini camp and all that, that's great. They did what they needed to do. Right, it will start when you start in pads, and the people that are going to know first are the players. You can't fool players who are on the field doing what is designed in a play. They will know which of these two guys, if either of them, are legitimate.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there's no fooling those guys. And I think that, a lot of the players, there's been some reporting that whispers have come out that, there's excitement amongst the locker room with Sanders and his ability to throw the football. But of course, like with everything, that's, they've got shorts and t-shirts on, no pads. And so we'll see when the intensity ratchets up. And I know all of us are really looking to get answers and clarity around the situation. But unfortunately, like you said, those aren't coming until we get to the first couple weeks of August.